This is Rob Liefeld. Kai Review is going down.
Hey guys, just finished watching Legion, Season 3, Episode 8, Chapter 27. This was the last episode of Legion ever, so it was an interesting episode, the way things kind of ended for this season. I expected the show being very much kind of complicated and like very confusing to follow, especially the first time around. It's very much you watch it with the whole season, then you watch it again the next time, and then you start to get things, you rewatch stuff. But this ending here, the way it ends here, it was quite interesting to say, like the way they do it. They definitely had me captive. I mean, obviously after 3 seasons, you get pretty captivated into the show. But I think it was kind of a little bit of a letdown for the ending, just because with this show kind of being so confusing and not being very difficult to follow this show, and kind of trying to make you think as to what's real, what's not real, and all that stuff, and trying to give you pretty much a migraine every time you watch this show. The ending didn't really have that. I thought this ending would be very much kind of confusing or trying to open to different interpretations. I mean, they even start off, the first note that I had here was that there's they start off with saying this is the beginning of the end, this is the end, this is the beginning, going back and forth, and then they have one of the words or lines they have, sentences they have on screen is what it all means is not for us to know. So I thought what that was like, oh wow, is that a huge hint that the ending is going to be confusing and hard to understand, and you have to kind of really dive deep into it to try and find what you might get out of that ending, but someone else might get something different. An ending where everyone would have their own take it in a different way type thing, and I think that would have been really fun for this show, and I think that was what I was hoping for the show. But it's pretty much a straightforward, for this show, it's a straightforward ending. In general, in terms of TV shows, it's not a straightforward ending whatsoever, but for this show, it's very much a straightforward ending. And that kind of just got me kind of disappointed a little bit. So we'll get into it here. We have, we see David and Charles, they end up pulling weapons out of the ears, so that was kind of a weird point. We see David is not alone because he has all of his personalities inside of his head to fight Farouk. We see Sid is hopeful that David, is going to win or, save the day. We see that current Farouk, since he showed up last episode, he's there and he's changed. He says he's changed. We see that Switch and her father, they're dead and they're now ghosts and stuff, time ghosts, and that's kind of interesting. And we see that Farouk shows his younger self his life experience, gives him his glasses, and you see all his life experiences, and that's when he decides to, to not take over David type thing. So, and we see David and Farouk stop fighting, and that changes and saves the world. So that's kind of an interesting way it kind of ends, the idea that if they don't fight, they don't start this war, as Charles puts it throughout the episode, is, they don't fight and nothing happens and things, history changes and stuff. So I think that's quite an interesting kind of way to end it, that everything, time's going to get reset. The current David that we know, all the characters we've been following are no longer existing because time travel has been reset. So I guess this is technically not the MCU, since that time you can go into the past and affect, and what happens in the past can affect the future, can affect your present and stuff, at least according to this show and not to the Endgame and stuff. But I think that was kind of interesting here, playing with that. I was hoping for a little bit more of a, like I said, a confusing, heart-wrenching, ending for this, instead of a perfectly reasonable and easy to follow ending. So I think it was quite interesting with that. I understand the idea that they're trying to, pull our heartstrings by saying that, oh, characters you've been following, they're gone, they're dead. But they can also say that this version of you is dead, but the better versions, but you're going to get to reset and restart and stuff. And I thought that's what we were going to go with. I understood. So when Switch said that, I was like, oh, cool. And there was some weight to that, but not as much, I guess, as they hoped there would be when they were writing it. But I thought that we'd end it with, yes, they disappear, and then we get a very little glimpse, maybe 5 minutes of what the reset future is, and maybe leave it on that. I thought that would have been interesting, going into that idea idea, seeing them disappear and then seeing like the reset version of them a little bit as to how different they are from each other. Maybe getting a glimpse of David and his parents growing up. That would have been a very happy way to end. But leaving us in a weird way. But this, right now the way it ends, it's kind of, it was okay. It was, straightforward, happy ending-ish to me. But I would have liked to have seen, maybe a tease of, of the future, and maybe a time lapse, maybe in 5 minutes, you speed through what this reset future would be, what this reset timeline would be, and you speed through all the way up till at one point maybe you end it with David and Sid bumping into each other as completely strangers, right? Just in a regular job. Maybe neither of them have powers because affect time or whatever, or we just they bump into each other as completely brand new strangers. I think that would have been an interesting way to end it, but this way was kind of, I don't know, I just expected a bit more of a confusing way. I expected to end this show, this series, completely confused, and I'm kind of not. And that's what I've been accustomed for. And there really wasn't that much confusion in this season. So, I don't know. I think this show, I definitely would recommend it to people because the first season is amazing. I think the third season is not my favorite. I think my favorite is definitely the first season, and even maybe the first 2 seasons are really good. Third one is not my favorite. The first 2 were very much confusing, hard to follow and all that. And then this third season just became too easy to follow for this show. So yeah, let me know what you think, guys, about this show in the comments below. What do you think about the ending? And I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace out.
We're here for Kyle Reviewed on YouTube, the very best Kyle Reviewed channel on all the YouTube Kyle Reviewed channels. You got that? You got that right? Thank you for watching Kyle Reviewed. Deadpool and I thought it was fantastic. You need to like, you need to subscribe. You know how it's done. Like, subscribe. Right, DP? All right, Kyle Reviewed. Cool channel.